Welcome on in to a Cleveland Browns mailbag. Matthew Peterson answering questions during our live show, which airs every single Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. First question comes in from Patches O'Houlihan. Latest on a Greg Newsome trade in the draft. Denzel Ward was kind of asked about the Newsome trade rumors when he spoke to the media earlier this week, and he was very supportive of Newsome and his entire secondary and wanting to keep it together. But I know there's been a chunk of the fan base that has wanted to trade Greg Newsome. I don't think you're getting what you think you're going to get for Greg Newsome. And that's not because he's bad. It's because if L'Jarius Sneed went for essentially a third-round pick, and he's much better than Greg Newsome, what do you think you're getting for Newsome? Like, sure, the Titans had to pay L'Jarius Sneed, whereas Newsome has this year under contract and then his fifth-year option for 2025 of $13+ million, which isn't nothing, but it's not a ton of money. It's somewhere in the middle. If Sneed went for a third, if you want to trade Newsome, and I tell you the Browns traded Greg Newsome, and you say, awesome, who are they going to take in round 2 or 3 because of this pick? Oh, no, they got a fifth rounder for Greg Newsome. You're probably rethinking whether or not you wanted to trade Newsome. I just think for a team that is all in for 2024 to trade away a cornerstone piece, which is cornerback, at a spot where you've had injury history with Denzel Ward, you are asking for trouble. You are asking to put yourself in a tight spot in week 6, 7, or 8 when inevitably Denzel Ward, who has always missed time in his career, probably pops up with something, and the backup for him got traded away, and the fifth rounder they used to replace him is not as good. So I'm not interested in trading Greg Newsome because I don't think you're going to get what Newsome is worth. And I don't think you're going to find a better replacement in rounds 4 or 5 what you get in a Greg Newsome trade. So for that reason, I'm out, Sharks. All right, cool guy called Zone. Next one up. It's starting to seem like Edgerrin Cooper is getting more and more out of reach. Do you see the Browns trading up 2 to 4 spots with the 6 rounders? I like this comment and idea, cool guy. Remember, they have 2 6-rounder, they have 2 7th rounders, a first, a second. Start all over. A second, a third, a fifth, 1 6 and 2 7s. Yeah. So they got here's the draft picks right here. They got a 6 and 2 7s. They got an extra 7th in the Leroy Watson trade. So to go back to the question now that I've got my head on straight here, I don't think Edgerrin Cooper is going to go as early as maybe people are mocking him to go. He's the best linebacker in this draft class, so that alone might boost his stock a little bit. But I think he is a potential pick at 54. But if the Browns walk away really in love with him, then I could see that being someone they move up for. My issue is when it comes to trading up for him, that requires a lot of love. And he kind of gives me JOK vibes. And that's not a bad thing. The question is, do the Browns want 2 JOKs? Or do they want the other linebacker to maybe be more of a true run-stopping linebacker? Maybe they do want 2 JOKs, but maybe not. Christopher Stofira, I would not mind sitting Chubb till after the first half of the season. He could be stronger to start then. He would have more time for his normal workouts. What do you think? I mean, if he's healthy, I would be inclined to play him. But sure, you want to be conservative. You don't want to rush him back. If there's kind of a debate about should we play him this week or wait till next week, then I think you already have your answer. But if he's ready to roll and he's just kind of waiting for week 8 or 9, then I don't know if you've got time in the NFL to wait. Like, it's a long season, but it's also a short season when you look at the total number of games you play. So for a coaching staff, they're desperate. They want to win every Sunday. Their jobs depend on it. So if Chubb's ready, they're not just going to stick Chubb on the bench until halfway through the season. Now, he may not be ready until the second half of the season. That's a very real possibility. He got his second surgery in November. Give him an 11-month recovery. We're talking about an October return. That's around the midpoint of the season. But I would say Chubb should play when Chubb is ready. Whenever that day is, that should be the time he comes. All right. That sounded really weird. He comes back. Oh boy. All right. Really quickly, I do want to share with you guys some awesome information about our sponsor today, which is Mando. Baseball fans watching, do you hate foul balls? You know the kind. No matter how hard you scrub them in the shower, they still smell like last week's nacho cheese. Well, ditch the soap and step up to the plate with Mando Whole Body Deodorant. Developed by a doctor, this game-changing formula is safe for your entire body and knocks out the odor like a champ. New customers, by the way, can get $5 off their starter pack when you go to shopmando.com and use code CHAT. I walk to work when the weather gets nice, and I don't want to be the smelly guy in the office. So with Mando just waiting for me at my desk, I'm ready to refresh after my nice 25-minute stroll in. So luckily, I've got a discount code to help out the dog pound. Like I said, you can get $5 off for all new customers from the starter pack with the exclusive code CHAT. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Lil Beam, next one up. Trade proposal. Browns get DTR and pick 243. Browns get pick 180. Browns use that pick to draft Joe Milton. Got no complaints on my end from drafting Joe Milton. This is somewhat related to what you suggest here. What if the Patriots trade for like Jack Conklin? Right? With AVP in New England and that offensive line is quite spotty. What if that's a trade New England pursues? But I don't know if AVP had that strong of a connection with DTR where he wants to bring him over to New England. But I don't mind this trade at all. I mean, I don't know if you're going to get pick 180 with DTR and actually, I bet you probably could. So, yeah, Lil Beam, I think you put together a really good trade here. I'm in. Jeremystalman, I think we should trade DTR for a third round. I think we could get that out of him. Whenever it comes to trading a player, try to ask yourself if that player with their current contract situation was tossed into this year's draft, where would they go? I'll tell you quarterbacks that I know would go before DTR. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, and Bo Nix. I'm very confident those 6 guys would all go before Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He could be the 7th quarterback taken. But I don't think you're going to see a team gamble a third on him when they could go with a different direction at third and maybe try and get some of the higher ceiling. So I don't think you're getting a third for DTR. I got bad news, Jeremy. I think you'd be lucky to kind of get your pick back because he is 1 year older. He's got a hip injury now, and he's got 1 year left on his rookie contract. Those things factor in. So for me, I think DTR would get you a 6 probably in a trade. I know that's not what you want to hear, but that's my honest opinion. Jacob Kissner, next one up. If Barry stays with pick, but a run is made on wide receiver, if Barry stays with pick 54, I'm guessing what you mean, but a run is made on wide receivers, linebackers, running backs, what 2 position groups would you want or think they would target? I think best case scenario for the Browns is that there may be a run for wide receivers. And that might sound backwards thinking, but I really am confident the Browns are confident in their current wide receiver makeup. So unless there's some guy they really love, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for teams to pick positions the Browns don't need in front of them. And that could be wide receiver, and that could free up some other spots to be available. But Jacob, to answer your question specifically, 2 position groups, I would say offensive tackle and defensive tackle. I think whenever you're a ball club that doesn't have a dire need in the draft, and sure, the Browns are not a perfect roster or close to it, but they're a really good roster, right? I think we'd all agree about that. They're a top third in the league. If you don't have a dire need, I think it's always a good idea to invest in the trenches. That seems like a really good spot to solidify because if those go, you're screwed. If you can't stop the run on 3rd and 4 to get your offense back on the field, or your offense can't pick up a first down on 3rd and 4 to keep the drive alive because your offense and defensive line are down to backups, you're in a jam. So those would be 2 position groups, Kissner, to watch for. Cool guy. You said schedules are set after the draft, right? Who do you think the Browns play week 1 out of 17 set opponents? The NFL schedule has not been announced, but I can tell you who they're playing. I have it right in front of me. Usually I do. Let me just get it right in front of me right now. So we do know their opponents. We just don't know the dates. So we'll get the NFL schedule sometime in early May, most likely. My guess is they're going to be at home week 1 because there's a concert at Cleveland Browns Stadium the Friday before week 2. I doubt they give the Browns back-to-back road games to open up the season. Some teams prefer that, like the 49ers. It's hot as hell in San Francisco that time of year, really sunny. So they actually always play on the road to begin the year, and then they have a bunch of home games at the end of the season. Whereas the Browns, I don't know if the NFL wants a bunch of home games in Cleveland, Ohio with snow in December or January. So my suspicion is the Browns will be home week 1. They played the Bengals last year. What if it is they got the Chiefs, Chargers, Cowboys, Giants, Dolphins, Ravens, Bengals, Steelers? How about Browns, Giants? I don't know if they're going to give the Browns a marquee matchup for week 1. They're not sending the Cowboys to Cleveland for week 1. They're just not going to do that. Like it or not, that's not happening. Same for Mahomes. I think Harbaugh and the Chargers are going to get a primetime game week 1. So they went division last time. That leaves Miami and the Giants. How about New York Giants? Joshua Miller's here. Last question. What player is on thinnest of ice in 2024? Freaking love Josh's questions. Thinnest of ice. Jed Wills pops to mind immediately. All right, he's literally going to be competing for a future contract in Cleveland. If he stinks it up, he's not coming back next year. He just ain't. That's one name that surfaces. I don't think Deshaun Watson's on thin ice because he's got a big contract still. They're not going to move on from him after 2024, no matter how bad it gets. So I would say Jed Wills is the first name that jumps to my mind. Trizzy Trace, what's going on? Are we ready to pick a card?
I'm so ready, and I'm feeling extra lucky. I'm liking the 8 of spades.
8 of spades. I'm going to go with 2 of diamonds.
Ooh.
Are you ready?
Let's see it.
9 of clubs.
Oh.
9 of clubs. All right. That's going to do it for us on our mailbag today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate those of you that watch all the way to the end of the video. Drop a CLE in the comment section if you're still watching.